Meng invited Zen teacher and poet Norman Fisher along with Mirabai Bush, who was running an organization called the Center for Contemplative Mind in Society, to lead the first SIY program in 2007. I observed the way those two led the program and then provide one-on-one coaching sessions with each of the 25 participants. The next several iterations of SIY were co-led by Norman and me. The following year, Meng and I co-led most of the trainings along with Philip Golden, one of the world's leading scientists studying brain science and the effects of mindfulness. The program was well received and became extremely popular within Google. Employees throughout the company were curious about meditation and immediately felt the impact of having a regular practice. The science of meditation was new and convincing, and we used it as a central part of the teaching of mindfulness. This was important to the open-minded, but still fact-based Google engineers. The program struck a nerve, addressing the demanding, fast-paced Google culture by connecting the dots between meditation, mindfulness, emotional intelligence, science, and leadership skills. And perhaps most importantly, we were able to create an open and trusting environment that led to building a more caring, learning community. Participants were eager to have real, vulnerable conversations with one another, to share pains and challenges as well as possibilities. The program's reputation spread via word of mouth as program participants noticed that they were becoming more skilled leaders, and their overall well-being was noticeably improving. Several years later, pre- and post-self-report surveys confirmed those observations. By 2009, waiting lists had grown, and as soon as the program was announced, it would fill within minutes. In 2011, Meng and I decided it was time to offer Search Inside Yourself outside Google. In the following year, Meng, Philip, and I created the Search Inside Your Leadership Institute. As a nonprofit organization, I was the CEO, Meng was the board chair, and Philip was the third board member. By the end of 2012, the organization moved into its first offices in the Presidio in San Francisco. We had 5 full-time employees were testing the program within a variety of organizations, and had just offered our first public program in downtown San Francisco in 2013. In order to better meet the demand for mindfulness training within Google, we launched our first teacher training program for 12 Google employees. An important aspect of teaching SIY in Search Inside Yourself. And an important aspect of teaching SIY includes teaching mindfulness and meditation. At an early meeting with these 12 teachers in training, we asked Norman Fisher to attend. As Meng spoke to the Google employees, I sat next to Norman, showed him the agenda, and pointed out that he was scheduled to speak next. Though he wasn't aware of it, he was supposed to give a talk on what is most important in teaching mindfulness. Norman calmly began taking notes on a blank piece of paper. The notes were a list of what Norman believed were 7 core principles for teaching mindfulness, and he proceeded to speak on them extemporaneously. As I listened, I knew these practices represented a powerful approach and path to the art of mindful leadership, well beyond the training of new mindfulness teachers. Afterward, I posted these practices on everyone's desk at SIYLI. I adopted them as a guiding principle for establishing the type of work culture I wanted to create within the organization, for how I wanted to teach leadership, for how I wanted to show up as a leader, and for how I wanted to live my life. I began to include these 7 practices in talks I gave at Google and at mindfulness and leadership conferences around the world. In one of my early morning meditations, I envisioned these 7 practices as a manual of mindful leadership, as something like what this book has become. As this image took shape in my mind, I phoned my friend Norman and asked for permission to use his teachings as the core of my next book. Norman responded, "What teaching? I don't remember what they are." I read Norman the list of 7 practices, and he said, "Oh, those are really good. I look forward to reading your book."